Hi, I'm Sidney McKinnon, MD and CIO of Cadiz Asset Management, and welcome once again to an episode in this series of all things fixed income. I'm often asked about balanced funds and the role of fixed income in balanced funds, or particularly bonds in balanced funds. Let's just take a step back. First of all, what is a balanced fund? Essentially, a balanced fund is an investment strategy. You as an investor are entrusting your funds into a balanced fund that invests in various asset classes. And these asset classes are split up according to the asset manager or the fund manager's investment strategy for those various asset classes. In other words, a balanced fund is made up of various assets that fall into various categories of asset classes. For example, in a balanced fund you might have, or you will have, in all probability, equity investments, fixed income investments such as bonds or money market equivalent investments. You potentially could have in that balanced fund some property or property unit trust. And invariably you might even have an offshore or a global component within that balanced fund. So by the very nature of its name, it's trying to balance out the various risks that you experience within each one of those asset classes. The question is, how do you combine those assets in a way that you will meet your investment objective of getting the best out of a balanced fund? Now, various balanced funds or different balanced funds have different objectives, but very generally speaking, your balanced funds are trying to beat a benchmark of sorts. For example, it's trying to beat inflation or inflation plus 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5%, depending on the risk profile of the fund. And the asset manager will then try and invest in those various asset classes in various measure and change that measure over time. It's a dynamic process in order to achieve the ultimate objective. But let's get back to what we want to talk about today, and that is, what is the role of the specific asset class of fixed income or bonds within that balanced context. Now, as the asset manager or the fund manager has all these tools at his disposal, his or her disposal, he will decide how he's going to invest in the bond market or in the fixed income market. What is the appeal of the fixed income market? Why do you want to include this asset class? First of all, is that it is a separate asset class. It's not an equity, it's not property, it's not an inflation-linked instrument. It's a fixed income instrument that has its own and very own characteristics. Now, what are those characteristics of bonds in particular, or fixed income instruments in particular? Let's have a look at the entire landscape. I speak about fixed income and then I speak about bonds, but let's make a clear distinction here. Bonds are a component or a subset of the fixed income universe. So within your balanced portfolio, you will have fixed income instruments such as money market instruments. You will have cash. You will have call money within that portfolio. You might have some negotiable certificates of deposit within that portfolio. The reason for that is because that kind of fixed income instruments within a balanced portfolio provide you what perhaps other riskier assets cannot provide you, and that is liquidity. You can very quickly and easily dissolve those assets or sell those assets to provide you with the liquidity that you may need should you need to make a withdrawal out of your portfolio. So a big plus by investing in fixed income assets is that liquidity component. The second one is that most of the fixed income instruments, as a matter of fact, I think just about all of them, have a good measure of predictability in terms of their income streams. When you are investing in the money market instruments, you know what interest you're going to be getting. There's predictability in what interest you're going to get. If you invest in the bond, you know which coupons you're going to be getting and at what interval you're going to be getting it. So as an investor, you want predictability. The less uncertainty you have, the better within your portfolio. Obviously, it comes at a bit of a price because it then means it might not give you the reward of an asset that is more risky and that you don't know the income stream. But for the purposes of a balanced portfolio, having that predictability is such a big plus because you then can build your entire investment portfolio around that predictability. So you've got those regular payments coming in the form of interest all the time. And if you have a liability on the other end, for example, you might want to use this balanced portfolio as a pension or retirement aiding type of income. And you can get those regular income from the kind of fixed income assets that's embedded within your portfolio. So how much of that should be in your portfolio? You need to talk to your investment advisor or financial advisor on that. But bonds, fixed income instruments provide an excellent diversification tool within the balanced ambit. And the second most important aspect as far as fixed income instruments are concerned is that they have a good measure of predictability of your income stream. So, in conclusion, and I hate using that phrase in conclusion, but in summary, fixed income instruments a crucial and important part of balanced portfolios to achieve your ultimate goal of beating your desired benchmark or target for the duration or your investment horizon. So that's me, Sidney McKinnon, MD and CIO of Cadiz Fixed Income. And until next time, we'll speak again about all things fixed income. Thank you.